All right. Welcome back everyone to the latest edition of Deep Dive. Kasama natin ito every other month kung may mga bardagulan na nangyari. We really have to have this very special guest, Sonny Trillanes. How are you, Tony? How was it? Kamusta, Senator? Long time no see. Nakamute ka. Sabaw ka na yata
I'm
sa kabilang channel. Just kidding, yeah. Listen.
yeah, I'm good, Christian, and thanks for inviting me again dito sa ano mo podcast mo.
Ayan, sabi ko nga sabaw ka nga, Christian na tawag mo sa akin. Okay lang yan. Tony, it's okay. It's
Ay,
okay.
Richard, Christian
Yes.
ba sabi ko? Ha?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Parang,
sorry, sorry,
parang
Richard.
ginagaya mo na
Yeah.
natin si Sir Ronald Llamas. Ah. Ang tawag ko nga sa tawag ko kay Ronald Llamas, Justice. Justice. Para, pati sa TV, nagkakalat na kami. No, but it's always good to have you. Oh, just to be
Yeah,
clear to
thank
people,
you.
nauna talaga yung interview mo sa kabilang channel. It's just that you were generous enough to give us time. I was hoping
Yeah.
earlier this day, but obviously you have your mayoral race
Mhm.
and candidacy na pag-usapan natin later on. Obviously, Senator, this intervention, let's just call it, no, as always, na naman
Mhm.
nagsama tayong dalawa, is in light of the fact that, of course, in the next 48 hours or so, we're expecting malawakan na rally. Ay magsasagawa ng mga supporters ng accountability when it comes to the abuses of Duterte. Ito yung Impeach Sara
Yes.
peace or prayer rally, no? Sa EDSA.
Yes. Ito po yung January 31, 9 a.m. sa People Power Monument. So it is a multi-sectoral rally na focused solely on the impeachment of Sara Duterte. And if I may add, may tatlong reasons kami for doing this. Unang-una, para ma-elevate ulit yung narrative about the offenses ni Sara Duterte. Ito ang pinakang mabigat na issue na kailangan natin harapin. Sara Duterte is clearly a threat to national security, a threat to our democracy. Kasi anytime she can succeed as president of the country. So na-witness natin yung public meltdowns niya na talagang psychological unstable siya. Plus the fact na yung hundreds of millions of pesos ang dinispalgo niya. So ninakaw niya ito. Maliwanag yan. Ngayon, yung sa budget issue ay ano no, we have information and I can send to you yung mga screenshots about it
Sure.
na ito ay ginagamit ng pro Duterte camp para i-push yung kanilang narrative for an ouster naman ni President Marcos and even impeachment. O ngayon, obviously, sino ba ang makikinabang niyan? And yun lang yun. We have the evidence. Ngayon, hindi natin pwedeng hayaan na mangyari yan. Kaya we're trying to unpack the budget issue also. And hopefully we'll do that later para lang makita ng mga tao ano ba itong budget issue talaga. Mhm.
Thank you very much for that, Sonny. No, again, just to put things into context, I've been warning for a month or so na i-hijack ng mga Dutertes. Unfortunately, any genuine, well-intentioned effort ng mga kasama natin pagdating sa kritisismo nila sa administration. Not because ayoko makriticize yung administration, we have to do it, we have to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
But alam naman talaga natin na nakatenga itong mga Duterte at saka mga trolls nila to exaggerate or even twist or spin even a little hunch of or even a konting 'di ba intimation of abuse or anything like that. And to be honest, Senator Trinas, I think the Dutertes have succeeded to a great degree, di ba? I mean, halos hindi pinag-usapan yung Quadcom, yung mga piatos, gano'n, na trending lang nung Christmas time, nung trending lang nung last December. Halos completely shifted. Nakikita ko yan sa analytics. If now you talk about Sara impeachment, kumpara mo dun sa blind item, ang tawag ko dyan, blind item na yan. Oh, the momentum has shifted. So siguro may mga kasama tayo na hindi natutuwa sa sinasabi natin. Ang point lang naman natin, I think both of us have been saying it, the hard truth is if Marcos goes down, we're not saying you shouldn't hold him accountable, But if Marcos goes down, the automatic beneficiary will be Sara Duterte as a matter of constitution and for political reasons because they're positioning themselves as the number one opposition in the coming elections, right, Senator?
Yes, that's precisely it, Richard. Kasi ganito, um, itong impeachment, maliwanag yung mga issues nito. Sabi mo nga, last year, maliwanag sa atin. Ngayon, alam natin kasi nakargado ito. No? And we know also that the Duterte propaganda machine is it's much more cohesive and it's much more expansive than the Marcos administration na propaganda machine.
They had
Kaya,
6 years ahead long, di ba? I mean,
yes.
yeah, so
Oo.
kumbaga, ano yan, praktisado na yan eh. Oh.
Yes, kaya nga they can create a mountain out of an anthill nga eh. Kasi remember, saan nanggaling itong budget issue na ito? Nung una, okay, I think let's unpack this ano.
Please,
Una,
please, please.
ang sinasabi yung PhilHealth issue, bakit daw ziniro? Okay, valid yun, legitimate issue yun. If you want to criticize that, di tama lang. Ngayon, next yung DepEd na bakit ni-reduce. So valid issue din yun, ni-raise yun. Okay, but these are policy disagreements. Hindi yan pwedeng gawing casus belli for a coup. Hindi yan pwedeng gawing reason to oust a sitting president or impeach a sitting president. Hindi to impeachable offenses. 'Di ba? Ano lang, kumbaga sabihin mong iba lang yung priorities nung incumbent. 'Di ba? And you can criticize that. Now, itong biglang nag-shift ito a week ago, biglang naglabas itong sila Digong ng dokumento ng mga blank BICAM report. Suddenly yun na naging experts na ng Senate procedures itong si Digong tsaka si
Pete
Ungab at
Rodriguez. Yeah, yeah.
oo na hindi naman sila nakatungtong sa Senado. Itong si Ungab as the former Appropriations Committee Chairman, apparently, hindi niya alam, at nakakahiya, hindi niya alam yung proseso ng BICAM. Ngayon, ganito. Una-una, meron bang corruption dito sa blank item issue ng yung BICAM issue ng nila Digong? Meron bang corruption? Wala. We can rule that out kasi budget pa lang pinag-uusapan natin, hindi pa nagagastos. Regardless, kahit ibuhos mo lahat yan sa AKAP o sa DPWH, maaring skeptical ka na mapupunta ito but still wala kang smoking gun for corruption kasi budget pa lang ito, hindi pa nagagastos. So kailangan natin bantayan yung implementation. Kaya nga nung panahon ni Duterte, ng 3 years niya, I never opposed a single budget ni Duterte because there's nothing to see there. Yun yung kanyang, as the chief executive, yun yung kanyang proposal, yun yung kanyang resource allocation. Doon natin makikita yung sense of priority niya. But you can't find anything wrong there or corrupt. There's no corruption per se doon. Kailangan mong bantayan implementation, which is another matter. Okay, kung walang corruption, next is kung unconstitutional ba ito. Ngayon, lahat ng mga advocates dito sa issue na to are unanimous in saying na yung enrolled bill ay walang blank items. So therefore, even Justice Carpio himself conceded that there is no blank uh, item
The
dun sa
enrolled
enrolled bill.
version. Oh, sa
Therefore,
enrolled version. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Went to the president.
yun yung pinirmahan ng presidente. Therefore, hindi siya unconstitutional. Therefore, hindi siya impeachable. So kung walang krimen, walang corruption, then what are we talking about here? Suddenly, naging eksperto lahat sa BICAM report procedures, blank. Hindi yun pinag-uusapan. Kasi alam nyo sa Senate procedures, no? Very liberal yan, Richard. They can even decide to suspend the rules itself. The Senate rules mismo
Yung
isususpend.
prerogative, no? Yung prerogative is
Yes.
significant.
Oh. because kailangan nila ng parliamentary tactics para manavigate yung mga obstacles so that they can accomplish the mission they have before them. So in this case, yung BICAM kasi, para lang magkaroon ng idea, yung mga kababayan natin, bakit nagko-constitute ng BICAM pagka hindi magkaparehas ang House version at Senate version, kailangan nila itong i-resolve through the BICAM. Ngayon, doon sa BICAM, ando doon po yan. Yung pinakita nilang blanco doon, I can remember when I was attending one of those BICAM hearings, ay meetings, meron yang silang working matrix or working template yung mga secretariat kung ano yung isang column sasabihin nila, ito yung House version, ito yung isang column Senate version, so magkakaiba, so ano yung BICAM version na mapag-aagrihan. So pagka napag-agrihan na lahat ng conflicting provisions, then they will move on. Yan, verbal agreement yan, nasa minutes yan. Yung secretariat ngayon ang maglalagay, magfi-fill in the blanks doon as agreed upon. Hindi yan pwedeng yung Senate staff ng budget, they will come up with random numbers to put in there. Hindi po pwede yun. Kasi wala silang paghuhugutan nun. Hindi pwedeng magdikta rin yung Senate President o kung sino. Kasi why would they do that when they can do that legally sa BICAM itself?
Correct.
Di ba? Correct. O so, meron yung, ayan nga sa Senado, part ng procedure, kunyari yung resolution, if I filed a resolution or somebody would file a resolution na medyo maganda yung gustong sabihin, pero may mga whereas paragraphs na hindi maayos pagkasulat, so aaproba ng mga senador yan subject to style. Meaning, after na approve nila, doon pa lang gagawin ng staff, i-reward nila, and yun ang pipirmahan ng Senate President. So, it's so liberal. Basta't ang bottom line dito, even the BICAM report itself, hindi naman nire-report yan sa plenary. Yung BICAM chairman lang ng Senate side ang magre-report, sasabihin niya, ito yung napag-usapan, then they will vote on it. Kung ikaw, senador, naduda ka doon sa mga nangyari doon, then you can always object and request for a clean copy from the budget staff ng Senado. Bibigyan ka niyan. Doon mo re-reviewin. Pagka hindi ka nag-object, hindi ka nag-demand nito, therefore, nagbigay ka ng consent. So yun na yun. At yun naman yung, kumaga, ang enrolled bill, ito na yung post-ratification document. Yung BICAM report na sinasabi nila is a pre-ratification document which doesn't count. Kasi ano yan yung sinasabi madalas na yung BICAM daw is the third chamber kasi after daw ng BICAM whatever was decided on diretso sa Malacanang, hindi totoo yon. Babalik siya sa respective houses for approval finally nung napag-usapan para may incorporate na yung mga amendments na yon doon sa bill itself. So, it's procedural. I think the Supreme Court won't even touch it kasi mag-encroach sila sa jurisdiction ng
So,
legislature.
so essentially,
So,
Senator, what we're saying is that obviously, yes, we had Justice Carpio on this show the other night lang and sabi niya, yes, walang sabit si BBM dun sa enrolled version, the final version. Kasi malinis yan, clear-cut yan. So what you're saying is that yung pinapakita nila Vic Rodriguez, just to be clear, ito yung mga tao na tinanggal ni Marcos, so obviously bitter to mga taon to. Ang pinakita nila is just a snapshot of a working documents na pinag-usapan ng dalawang chamber. And what you're saying is that the way the Senate works, the way this bicameral works, yes, may mga working documents yan. Kaya minsan may mga blank talaga literally kasi you're gonna go back and forth, negotiate. So what you're saying is that so this is not just exaggeration. This is really falsification and fake news, right? It's not just making a mountain out of an anthill, it's making an asteroid out of an anthill.
Yes, that's precisely it. At nakakalungkot dito, si Justice Carpio na mismo nagsabi, he basically cleared President Marcos dito sa issue na to, and yet the way they are presenting it doon sa kanilang posters ng invitation, ando doon yung mukha ni President Marcos na bibira accountable daw dapat lahat. Si President Marcos, si Duterte, sila ano. Siya na mismo nagsabi na hindi. So, alam mo, ano ito, unwittingly, nakakargahan sila nung
So,
Duterte
the
camp.
one I saw is like gitna si Martin Romualdez na malaki. Tapos si Sara
Hmm.
lang and Bibi on the side. So yun yung parang, yun, which for
Oo.
me, di ba? It goes back yung sa the whole Tambalos-Los narrative, di ba? Which the Dutertes have been
Yes.
building on
Oo.
for quite some time. But again, just to be fair to the other side, ang point ko lang kasi, when I say other side, side din natin yan. Like other side within the same side. Um, but the thing kasi is, umamin din si BBM last December pa lang na parang may problema dito sa budget kaya sabi niya he might veto it or he will veto it. So it's not like walang recognition si presidente na may mga pagkakulang or may mga sablay if some would even say dun sa budget na yan. What do you have to say about that? Is it because the president was transparent enough to recognize that there are mistakes, or some would say the president was transparent enough but didn't do enough about it? And some were saying maybe the Zaldico removal. I was just in Bicol when it happened. People were saying maybe it's part of Malacanang saying, hey, baka ayusin niyo naman dyan. What I'm saying here, Senator, is okay. I understand where you're coming from. I actually agree with your version of this. And you come from Senate, you know how things work, and I trust Senator Riza Ontiveros among others who agree to this. So, tatak na yan, certified. Ang akin lang is, nevertheless, we cannot deny na parang may problema dito sa budget na yan that even BBM had to admit that he had to veto it or at least consider vetoing it. What do you have to say about that angle? Because I think that's a fair angle for us to explore.
Which is part of the process, which is part of the powers of the president to veto yung mga items na hindi siya in agreement with, 'di ba? So part ng trabaho ng legislature to make amendments, pero may power yung presidente to veto that, and that power was exercised. So ang tanong nga dito is since walang corruption issue, kasi nga hindi pa nagagastos yung pera eh. Budget pa lang ito. At walang unconstitutional na nangyari, therefore walang impeachable offense nangyari. So, why are we elevating this issue to the level of the impeachment offenses ni Sara Duterte? 'Di
Because
ba?
of
And
false equivalence. I think, honestly,
yeah,
I think what's happening here is, ang sinasabi ng mga kaibigan natin, or ang in-imply dito is, parehas lang naman eh. Duterte, ganun din. Marcos, ganun. Parang ganun. Actually, if you talk to the average Juan de la Cruz, parang ganun ang sasabihin eh. Parehas lang palang kurakot lahat eh. Which, for you, is dangerous. Right? Kasi you're creating a false
yes.
equivalence here.
Mhm. Yes, and at this point in time, we cannot generalize. Kailangan natin specific. Kung may issue ka ng corruption, name the amount, magkano ba yung ninakaw. Then pagka nakita natin na totoo yan, we embrace that as a cause. We stick to that figure. Hindi yung general na, hindi, magnanakaw sila lahat, kailangan nilang mawala lahat sa posisyon. Hindi pa pwede yun. And ikuha ko lang, Richard, kaibigan natin yan si Father Robert Reyes. Mahabang pinagsamahan namin dyan. No? And I feel bad na may ganitong disagreement, no? Or misunderstanding. Tapos si Justice Carpio, kaibigan din natin yan. Si Prof. Chelo, kaibigan din natin. But ang sinasabi ko nga, unwittingly, ginagamit sila nung, nung kabilang side, nung Duterte camp. Biruin mo, ang naglalabas nitong mga issue na to is Duterte himself taking the cue from the guy, the whole propaganda machinery activated. Kaya makita mo yung mga trolls, isa yung message. Tapos they hide behind the statements of Raul Manuel, this and that, personality, para masanitize yung kanilang at malegitimize yung kanilang issue. But then when you unpack it like this, ano ba yung kausa dito? What was violated? Ano yung krimen? Who committed the crime? Kaya nga sinasabi mo, 'di ba sabi natin, Richard, Si Senator Risa was sitting doon sa Bicameral
Exactly.
Conference
That's my
Committee.
point. Yeah.
And we trust her
Yes.
na gagawin niya yung tama. And wala siyang sinasabi na maling prosesong nangyari. So, ganon. Si Sen. Frank Drilon, sabi din niya, wala ring blanco yung enrolled bill. And sabi ko nga, ano to well within the flexibility of the House and the Senate. Nakikita natin yan, yung pag-suspend na lang ng rules, it's not even in the rules. But you can suspend it because the majority prevails. Pag
It's
sinabi nila
procedural
na,
discretion. Yeah.
oh, para ma-navigate mo lang yung mga
Right.
legislative obstacles, they exercise, ito yung mga tinatawag na mga parliamentary tactics
Right.
na kailangan. Oo.
Actually, I raised that also with Justice Carpy the other day na baka naman namin working draft lang yan. Some people are going back and forth, making notes, negotiating, and someone just took a snapshot. Sino bang nag-leak yan? Meron ba tayong idea? Or is it normal for people to have a copy of that? Was there something
May,
fishy going on? May black ops pa nangyari dyan?
ganito kasi, no? Palagay ko hindi naman na-leak yan kasi they didn't think much of it kasi yung BICAM report hindi naman yan siniseryoso, verbal ang presentation nito, ang report nito sa Senado, sa plenaryo, hindi yung some document, wala po yan. Ngayon ganito po nangyari dyan, ano? Yung BICAM sa sobrang minsan natatapos siya madaling araw, mga alas 4, alas 5 ng madaling araw. Tapos, ang importante sa kanila, pag napag-agrihan na nila, and it's in the minutes, no? Yung tinatranscribe sa TSN, ando doon na kung ano yung mga figures na conflicting na na-resolve. So, pagka nag-agree na sila lahat, o sige na, let's adjourn. Automatic yung finance team ng House and the finance team ng Senate will incorporate all those amendments that were agreed upon during the BICAM. So therefore, mangyayari talaga na kahit blanco yan, but alam na nila yung napag-agrihan doon. At yun ang magpe-prevail. Di ba? And ito yan, ni isang advocate ang nagsabi na yung nakasulat sa enrolled bill is different from what was agreed on during the BICAM. Nothing. Nobody. Wala nagsabi nun. So kung ganun, ibig sabihin, wala tayong pinag-uusapan. So ngayon, ano ba to? So what is this issue? I was talking to one of the organizers nitong afternoon rally na ito. Convince me na ito talagang issue to na ganun kabigat na kailangan natin itapat dun sa mga atraso ni Sara Duterte. Ni hindi masabi kung magkano yung nanakaw kasi nga wala eh. Ni hindi nagsabi na impeachable offense to. Biruin nyo, BICAM procedures, Senate procedures ang
Sabi ko,
kini-question.
false
Tago tayo
equivalent.
dyan.
Yeah. Well, I
Oo.
mean, just to put it, some of
Mhm.
our friends would even say that this is the worst budget ever, something like that. I mean, you were there when
Mhm.
Duterte was the president. If you look at the Philippine corruption ranking, we were worst actually in 2021. May isang mag-blind item na lang ako dito. May ibang kaibigan tayo dyan na paping-pink nung 2022, tapos ngayon post ng post, Philippine corruption ranking. Sabi ko, actually, our ranking was worse during Digong's time, right? In 2021. If you look at our budget during pandemic, napakalaki ng discretion ni Presidente. Halos, we had even our friends from Makabayan on this show who said that, yeah, nung time ni Digong, halos parang wala nang bidding-bidding na eh. Diba? Yung Farmali, yung mga ganyan. Can we just remind? Kasi again, I think okay, I think some friends may have jumped the gun in a sense that parang wait lang. Before we make big judgments about BBM, let's just not forget what was happening just few years ago during Duterte. Well, Justice Carpio, I know where he was during Digong's time. A lot of us, we were holding the line in our own ways. Yung iba, hindi ko alam. Yung iba, biglang lumitaw ngayon. But just to remind people, is this really the worst budget? Wasn't it so much worse during Digong's time?
Yung mga ganyang labels, alam mo na may propagandang may propaganda machinery na nagano kasi nililabel na eh. Para ngayon, worst. Ulitin mo 'yan, people will actually believe it. Pero alam mo pag nagsabi ka ng worst budget, worst or the most corrupt budget, ano yun eh, parang nagre-reflect badly sa yun kasi you don't know what you're talking about. Kasi ito budget, wala kang makikita dyan na ano, ito, ilalagay ito sa project na ito, lalagay sa ganun. Maganda siya on paper. Implementation, yun ang magiging problema. And it goes for all administrations. Even nung panahon ni Pinoy, a president na hindi corrupt, pero may mga corruption nangyari sa iba't ibang agencies. And it's not his fault. Talagang may mga bureaucratic corruption na may mga sindikato nang gumagalaw doon. Ngayon, itong ano, yung sinasabi kasi nilang na pagka itong budget, pag sinabi nilang most corrupt na parang ano yung basis kasi natin, di ba? We're just saying that, labeling that, di ba? Kailangan objective. Sabi ko, ano bang yung sinabi mo kanina na yung kay Duterte during the pandemic? On paper, yung ano to, bayanihan bill yata yun eh.
Right, right.
Yung
Bayanihan
binigyan
Batalyon.
ng blanket authority si
Discretion,
Duterte.
yeah.
Oh, so on paper, it was necessary kasi may pandemic eh. Kailangan mabilis yung disbursement to contain the pandemic. Kahit gaano mo tignan yung bayanihan bill, yung bayanihan law, wala kang makikitang mali doon. Pero ano nangyari sa implementation? 'Di ba? Doon nangyaring corruption. So doon ang problema sa implementation. So ngayon, ganun din dito sa budget na ito. Maaring meron tayong suspecha na itong pondo na ito makukurakot, then yun ang bantayan nyo. Until that happens, you cannot speculate or you cannot assume that there is already corruption.
So what you're
Yun.
saying is that hindi lang yung formulation, hindi lang yung on the paper version. If you really want to check corruption, look at it. Kumbaga, look at the whole, ano, 'di ba? Downstream, 'di ba? Kung saan mapunta ito. At tuloy-tuloy dapat yung
Oo.
scrutiny na yan. Just to be clear,
I-cite ko lang, Richard, ito
please, Senator.
One of those being, one of the programs being questioned, di ba yung mga ayuda,
Akap, yeah, yeah.
yung tupad, yung mga ganon, ayuda in general. Remember nung natapos yung bagyo sa Bicol, nagbigay ng tupad si si Senate President Chis Escudero kay Vice President Leni Robredo para sa Naga. Ginamit nila yon to clean up Naga. Marami nagkatrabaho at a time na walang pera. So nobody raised an issue about that. Nung panahon ni Pinoy, ganon, may cash for work program na ginawa. Yan na yon, yung extension ng tupad nung Yolanda. Kasi now devastate yung kabuhayan doon. So the government needed to intervene at sila yung mag-provide ng work. Sila yung naglinis nung ano doon, nung debris doon sa Tacloban and the whole Leyte province. Cash for work yun. It's the same. Ito yung tupad na kini-question nila. 'Di ba? So, alam mo yun, hindi yung program per se yung problema. If you're saying ginagamit siya ng mga politiko, ako, I agree. Yung kalaban ko dito sa Caloocan, maraming siyang tupad, maraming akap. Pero I don't mind. I don't criticize that kasi nakikita ko na mga taga-Caloocan din yung nakakatanggap.
Yeah,
Di
nagbe-benefit
ba?
yung tao.
O ngayon kung gagamitin niya yun, sabihin niya, o sa akin galing yan. Eh ngayon kung boboto siya nun, eh okay na sa akin. Importante na nagkaroon ng wealth distribution mechanism. Kasi pag tinanggal natin itong mga ito, saan to mailalagay? Sa infrastructure projects? Saan ba? 'Di ba? In a cynical world, wala kang mapaglalagyan ng pera na yan na masasabi mong hindi yan gagalawin ng mga corrupt. 'Di ba? Kung tatanggalin mo 'yan sa yung ayuda na 'yan, yung wealth distribution mechanism na 'yan, ilalagay mo sa infra ulit, babalik mo, may problema ka na naman. So, where do we go? Kaya nga kailangan natin bantayan. Kasi I know of politicians, senators na ginagamit ito judiciously. Na talagang may mga nakikinabang. Yung unscrupulous na nagkakat sila doon, sila yung bantayan natin at maparusahan. Similar to what happened dun sa Napoles pork barrel scam.
Senator, what about the angle of the budget doesn't give the constitutionally mandated amount to the Department of Education at kung ano-anong ginamit PMA. I mean, just to be clear, you're not the spokesman of the administration. Like, let's be clear, ha? Hindi namin trabaho na depensa ng gobyerno. Ang
Yeah.
sinasabi po lang namin dito is medyo hinay-hinay lang po tayo before jumping the gun or
Yeah.
saying this is the worst ever. But for the sake of, clarity and all, kasi yung isang concern dito is ang laki ng budget ng DPWH and parang concern na naman ng tao dito is flood control na naman, which of course you can connect the dots. What's the implication of
Mm.
that? Again, that doesn't mean that BBM is the worst president or this is the worst budget. But I think, to be fair, that's a legitimate concern that some people have.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Again, we have to be fair, di ba? Kaya hindi natin trabaho depensa ng gobyerno. So I'm just trying to clarify to our friends that we're not defending the president of the administration. We're just saying huwag tayo magpabudol sa mga Duterte or magpaggamit sa mga Duterte and don't lose perspective of who is the greater evil here.
And ano no, yung mga flood control projects, yun na ngayon na veto ng presidente, which was part of the process and part sa kanyang ng yung veto powers niya. So na veto 'yon. Okay. Ngayon yung sinasabi na na what's this other point na
Sa
ano yung
education budget
isang
na hindi
yes,
umabot
yung sa education budget. Yung sa education budget, um, nirecompute nila, sinabi nila, siniksik yung PMA, siniksik lahat. Technically speaking, education siya. Ngayon, you can split hairs, you can nitpick. Kung hindi ka na-convinced doon, then file something sa Supreme Court. Then watch out. Wait for it kung ano magiging ano nila. Pero sa ngayon, na-recompute nila and mas lumamang yung education. Ngayon, ang bottom line natin dito, are these issues equivalent to the Sara Duterte offenses na grabe yung mga Mary Grace Piatos, yung daang-daang milyon, magkaning safe house per day, etc. Tapos itong
awards,
mga
mga
Pro Duterte na retired generals hindi man lang nagko-call din ng ouster or removal or resignation ni Sara Duterte. So doon mo makikita na kargado ito. This is a propaganda operations at play. Kaya, yun nga, na ano lang, it's just unfortunate na nasa-sanitize yung kanilang agenda because of the well-meaning personalities na nangunguna dito sa issue na ito. Sana hindi nga magpagamit.
Was it important? Kasi ito yung ginagawa ko na, was it important to always put the caveat na, okay, ito yung mga concerns natin, X, Y, Z, pero of course, wag natin kalimutan yung Mary Grace Piatos, wag natin kalimutan yung budget ni Digong. Hindi ba dapat ganun sana yung approach ng ating mga kaibigan? Just to be yun yung parang judicious approach, no? Kasi yun nga, obviously everyone has a right to criticize and I think there are things to really criticize about this administration. But then again, feeling ko lang kasi nawawala na yung caveat. And at the same time, Senator, I think political momentum also matters, right? Kasi cornered ng mga Duterte just a few weeks ago as we were heading into the holiday season. But now, parang may second wind sila. And part of that second wind is, of course, again, no surprise, we saw this coming, yung so-called peace rally, million strong. I don't know how they calculated 1,287,861, whatever. But I think people should have receive the message what's going on here, right? That this what's happening here is that you're trying to change the momentum, if not intimidate those people who want to hold Sara Duterte accountable. What do you have to say, by the way, about the peace rally? Do you think that had the chilling effect, or do you think at the very least that should have made some of our friends a little bit more judicious? Na wait, parang I think we know what's going on here, right? Na pinapalitan yung narratives, grand narratives, and diskurso sa ating politika. I mean, these are the things we have been warning since last year pa, di ba? I'm totally unshocked, but I'm still wondering like, bakit ganyan? Bakit ganito tayo ngayon? Why are we, bakit parang we're just going with the bamboo, right? Whichever direction of the wind goes. And it's like the opposition is easily being split between different sides. And ikaw, first of all, what is your take on that, Senator, in the so-called peace rally and the effect?
Siguro unahin ko muna, Richard, yung yung sinabi mong kailangan magbigay ng caveat. Ang problema kasi rito, pag may propaganda operations na at play, iko-quote ka out of context. Itong part lang na ito ang ikukuhanin sa'yo, and they will use that, they will take advantage of that to the hilt, di ba? Na itong sinabi ni ito yung sinabi ni ganito na hindi identified sa kanila. So nga naman, uy, yung mga nasa gitna, medyo nasa sway sila, akala nila talaga legitimate at na-amplify nila ito much more than the normal news items. Kasi they can amplify a small issue, a small statement eh. So yun ang no amount of caveat will be able to change that. Ang pinakaano sana dito is take a pause. You unpack or dissect the issue by yourself. Ano ba itong BICAM report issue na ito? Where is the crime? How much was stolen, if any? Ano ba itong issue na to? Is this something that we really need to elevate sa level nung impeachment ni Sara? Dapat sila sa kanila yan, hindi yung uy, suddenly maraming views pag sinabi ko to, hindi nila alam kargado nung DDS sa propaganda eh.
Yes, I
Di
think
ba?
I think
Ganan yun.
malalaman mo sa tenure at cadence ng comments kung what's going on there, right? Maybe
Yeah.
bago lang sa social media world pero tayo na medyo
Yeah.
veteran. Yeah, you're right. I think kargado ito yung
Mamamonitor
best
mo.
way to put it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, going to the INC rally, sabi ko nga in democratic space, these sectors will try to influence public policy. O, yung INC, they try to influence public policy by saying, ayaw namin, impeachment. So ngayon, depende yan kung magpapaapekto yung mga mambabatas natin at yung Marcos administration. In the same way na nung 2013 elections, yung Catholic Church, nag-flex din sila, yung team patay, team buhay. So talagang nag-assert din sila to
Sorry, Bill.
influence,
Sorry, Bill.
yeah, to influence the whole policy environment. So it's just fair game. So in the same vein, itong aming pagkilos sa January 31, 9 a.m., ito rin yon. This is to show na kahit hindi kami kasi laki nung INC rally, but meron pa ring boses. And we will still try to um, raise these valid issues and more important issues na kailangan marinig muli ng taong bayan at maka-impluensya doon sa mga mambabatas natin para matransmit na nila sa Senado yung impeachment.
Sorry,
Mm.
I want to ask also a little bit about the new Trump administration. Marco Rubio is officially the Secretary
Yeah.
of State. I want to slightly ask you about that. But before going there, we want to end on a more positive note on this, diba? So I think medyo na-clarify na po natin. May kind of points of difference tayo with our good friends, no? Including a lot of other fellow regulars dito sa little show natin. But the message we want in Friday is some sort of a unity, right? Na lahat naman tayo, whether actually never Marcos ka or never Duterte or whatever, ang gusto lang natin never trapo, right? We don't want dictatorship, we don't want corruption. All of us want the same thing, maybe just different tactical or strategic outlook. Senator Trillanes, how important is for these different groups, despite disagreements or despite differences in terms of strategic or tactical priorities, to come together? And exactly where is the venue? And is there a program? Is it supposed to be the whole day? Just for people to have an idea. Kasi I think maraming interesado dito. But the thing is parang nagse-circulate lang itong mga to in certain silos eh. So we want to make sure that everyone has a chance to know about this rally and also to show their unified interest in good governance and good Philippines. Yeah.
Okay. Yung January 31, 9 a.m. sa People Power Monument po yan, it will end mga around 12 noon. Kaya itong umaga nito, ito solely for impeachment ni Sara Duterte. Yung program dyan, yung speakers dyan would be the complainants dun sa first and third impeachment complaints. So, mare-revive ulit, isa-isa yon. So, yan po ang first na rally. Yung sa hapon, kasama yung budget issue. Ngayon, kung if you think this is a big thing, then by all means go there.
Wait,
We're
hapon
not
niya is also
stopping.
there? Same place lang yung sa hapon?
EDSA Shrine. No, EDSA Shrine.
Yung hapon.
EDSA Shrine, yung hapon. So People Power Monument, ito po yung nasa may
Kapila,
Camp
oh.
Aguinaldo,
Right.
corner. Oo. Yung corner na yun,
Right.
katapat ng Corinthians. So yung EDSA Shrine, yung sa may church, yung may
Ah.
Blessed Virgin Mary.
It's a whole
Oo.
day event.
Ngayon,
It's a whole day event then, yeah.
yung sa EDSA Shrine, sa
I
hapon
mean, if
sila.
put them together, it's a whole day event, isn't it?
Yeah,
Essentially,
yeah.
of
Oh.
third, fourth
Then yung
competition, yeah.
Then yung Makabayan Block, I think will also have their own rally. Either, I think, Liwasang Bonifacio. So in the afternoon din yun. Kaya ano to, mas maganda nga ito. Makikita nila na disparate groups, but ang a common call dito is impeach Sara. Di ba? Oh, kung mag-resonate man yung budget, which I doubt, ano, kasi sabi ko nga, that budget issue, that BICAM issue is so complicated. At the end of the day, hindi nila masabi what the crime is eh. Magkano yung ninakaw? Wala eh. It's procedure ng Senado. Eh, sabi ko, talo kayo dyan kasi hindi pakikialaman ng Supreme Court yung proseso ng Senado.
And just to be clear, at least the difference here is that yung peace rally was a bit ambivalent. Like we agree with the president to disagree with like at least ito, klarong-klaro what
Yeah.
people want, no, which is accountability on something that the Quadcom hearings, among others, exposed. And these Quadcom hearings were composed of many people from different sides, not to mention also Risa cross-examining yung ano yung mga book projects ni Sarah, yung libro niya. Ating
Yeah.
kaibigan niya, yung mga ganun. All right. So again, it's just a good reminder for people on that front. Now, on the last part of our discussion, Senator, um, well, actually, I have to also ask about it. So, eto na, patapos Chinese New Year na tayo, kung Choy. Um, So what I'm hearing is that either baka mahabol pa before election yung impeachment proceeding from essentially from Congress, i-transmit sa Senate, but no one
Mhm.
is under the illusion that they will be voting until after election, something that you have been talking about last year pa. So the scenario you've been talking about since last year pa, mukhang yun yung most realistic scenario. But to a certain degree, it could also be a now or never situation, right? Kung sumablay itong impeachment na yan, hindi ka na pwede mag-file ulit until another year, right? So you just have to
Yes.
drag it until the right conditions are there and then push it to the next level, right? So could you just lay out I don't want to use the word blueprint kasi mukhang conspiracy, but the mechanics just in case.
Okay. So ngayon, Richard, there are three scenarios. One is ibabasura yung impeachment complaints. Pangalawa is itatransmit itong impeachment complaint before the elections, whether February man yan or anytime during the campaign period, para sisimulan yung trial nitong Senado na ito. Tapos, or itatransmit ito just before matapos yung Kongreso. Itatransmit ito sa Senado para yung next set of senators na ang maglilitis nito sa next Congress. Pero
So right
kahit
between the end of elections and then a new Congress coming in. So like something like
yes.
second half of May to June, parang something like that.
Oh, yeah. So meron pa kasing 6 session days yan after the elections. So magre-resume yan. So pwedeng i-transmit doon sa period na yon para diretso sa Senado. Ang Senado is a continuing body. The impeachment process is a continuing process. This is a quasi-judicial process. Ina-adapt niya yung proseso sa judiciary na kunyari, yung sa Sandigan Bayan, pag nag-retire yung isang justice sa 3 justices, pag may na-appoint na bago, hindi yan magre-reset na ulitin, presentation, no. Magbabackread siya para makahabol siya. So ngayon, kung i-transmit naman ito during the campaign period or just before the campaign period at masimulan yung trial, kahit hindi matapos yan ng term, kunyari June 30, tapos na yung term ng 12 senators, Mag-spill over yan, magpapalit lang yung mga senator judges na mawawala, papalitan ng mga bago, then tutuloy yung impeachment process, impeachment trial, um, kung saan siya natapos nung nakaraang kongreso. Kumbaga ano yan maliwanag sa Constitution that you can only terminate an impeachment process in either of two ways. First, sa plenaryo na pagbobotohan siya na ibabasura siya. Okay. Pangalawa is a verdict at the end of the impeachment trial. Okay. Ngayon, ang isang sub-level noon is kung prior to the verdict, nag-resign yung akusado, in this case, the Vice President, kung mag-resign siya, so effectively, remove na siya, so magiging moot na yung verdict. So, yun lang yung mga paraan paano ma-terminate ang impeachment process. Wala yung sinasabi na pagka nahinto, tapos na yung Kongreso ay parang mga legislation, magba-back to zero. No, the impeachment process is not similar or is not equated to a legislative process.
So, pwede mo ibangko and then push it at the right moment. Hindi siya termination kasi walang final verdict
Yes.
by senator judges nor a vote down or thumb down by the plenary in the Congress. So that's why it's also so your sense is malabo na ma-junk ito or ma-terminate ito, pero malabo rin na mapasa ito before or during election. So most likely we're looking at the next Congress to see how this is going. Which means it's important we get the right people into the Congress, right, and the Senate
Yes.
to
Okay, i-qualify, yeah. I-qualify ko lang, Richard.
Yes.
Ang feeling ko, ang default plan is to transmit it after the election. That's the default plan. Now, if there is some trigger, some event that would trigger the immediate transmittal of the impeachment complaint to the Senate, then mangyayari pa rin siya. Nakita naman natin how fluid yung political environment natin minsan, how volatile it is Minsan biglang ganun We can never tell. We can never rule that out.
Is it volatile enough for us to worry that there could be like RevGov, proto-fascist, crazy people doing crazy stuff? The reason I'm asking is because, Senator, you have had many experiences in, doing some extra
Yeah, yeah.
constitution. I mean, we're friends, right? Are you
Yes.
worried that some adventurous, swashbuckling friends of ours may jump the gun literally and try to take advantage of the fluid situation?
Yes, I'm worried about that. Sabi ko nga, coming from that world, ano yan, you can never underestimate these things. Nakita ko, very loud yung chatter sa mga PMA chat groups at itong mga retired Pro Duterte generals are trying to influence yung mga lurkers. So hindi natin malaman, hindi natin masasabi kung may isang active colonel dyan o general na tipong, o nga, no, tama itong uh, then they may do something, tapos pag nandoon na, mag-snowball na. And that's exactly what happened nung panahon ni President Estrada. Noong una, wala namang mga kumakagat kasi natatakot sila. Very confident yung mga generals noon. Then suddenly, ano lang, may isang incident lang, nag-snowball, tapos na, withdrawal of support. It could end that way as well. Kaya nga, kailangan itong mga manufactured issues nila, like the BICAM, blank issue, ko ano man yan, that should be nipped in the bud. Kaya I'm doing
So in
everything
short, Senator,
to
you're
try.
saying the risk here is either Sara becomes the next president or something even worse, which is a kind of a junta or military takes over if people do not judiciously approach the fiscalization of the current administration's budget.
Yes, and ito yan, Richard. Ang naririnig namin, ang entry point nila, okay, sige, is either impeach President Marcos or oust him, then Sara assumes. Or pag nakita nilang mas palatable, hindi, para silang corrupt, para silang tanggalin, magtayo ng Transition Council or RevGov, and guess who ang ilalagay nila? Eventually, si Digong. Kasi mas komportable sila na si Digong ang presidente. In
Right.
fact, hindi sila komportable kay Sara kasi unpredictable. Baka pati sila ano niyan, ilagay sa firing line kaya ganun. Ang ito bang sina Justice Carpio, iluluklok ba yan sila diyan, sila Father Robert? No. Gagamitin lang sila to gain that yung traction, makakuha sila, ma-expand nila yung base for that message na parehas silang corrupt, tanggalin na parehas. Mag-install tayo ng council, then pag nandoon na, okay, sorry kayo, tabi kayo lahat dyan, kasi ang may mga hawak ng baril, yung mga bata ni Duterte. Then, yun na. That's going to
But
be.
just to be clear, Senator, baka sasabihin naman toxic masculinity tayo. We're saying these things in light of some of the meltdowns that happen. But personally, wala rin ako tiwala kay Digong. I think he's even more unstable, Like just in case. He's like, so, Senator, are you saying that you're worried there could be a trillion, a Sonny Trillanes in the wings who might pull off something that you were pulling off back in the day? That possibility is not really far-fetched. Na baka
You,
may
you
mga,
cannot,
you can never say, right? You can never
you
say.
cannot rule that out kasi
Yeah,
out in the open yung
yeah.
chatter. Hindi na ito, talagang nananawagan ng
Brazen na siya.
auster. Oo,
Yeah,
auster ang
brazen.
nananawagan sila using the budget issue which they themselves do not understand. Na parang suddenly ito na yung casus belli natin. Ito na. Grabe na. So nakikita natin yon. And very, very dangerous yan. Kaya nga, itong ating mga kaibigan, hopefully, ma-realize nila na hindi natin sinasabi na pro-Duterte sila. But, sumusukob sa kanila eh. Sinasanitize yung mga plot nitong Maka Duterte.
But if there's
Mm.
one thing we have to say, so thank you so much, Senator Trinas, for clarifying that. Kasi parang last year we were not as worried. But okay, I'm getting more and more worried about this possibility that another Sonny Trillanes might pop up somewhere. Like you're more than enough, right? Like the same way there's more than enough of me, right? Like wag na
Yeah.
natin dagdagan yan. But on a
Yeah.
serious note, if there's one thing though that has been moving in the direction of accountability is that nag-hemorrhage din numbers ni Sarah, di ba? She's only plus 21 net satisfaction rating per fourth quarter. So, mukhang yung Duterte magic has taken a significant punch and hit. No? I don't know about Digong if he's really in a position to lead the junta or presidency. But Sara, bata pa. May future pa yan. May balak pa yan. She has made it clear. Yeah, she will run for 2020 if she can. Um, how are you seeing the fact na nag-hemorrhage yung numbers ni Sara Duterte na she's just at plus 21 when her father would be plus 80, plus 90, when Binay would be plus, I don't know, 50 at this point. Robredo, ibang kaso yan kasi she was really isolated and bludgeoned. But Sara Duterte, for her to have such a low satisfaction rating, what is that telling us? Maybe indeed the political wind is shifting in a certain direction after all.
And that's a very positive development. Ibig sabihin no, nagigain na ng traction itong mga narratives, itong mga balita. And hindi ito fake news, ito yung mga totoo. Itong mga ginawa nilang corruption sa DepEd tsaka sa OVP, edi maganda 'yon. But we will have our own survey within the next few weeks. And makikita namin kung anong itsura nun. Now, yung sinasabi yung kay Duterte to lead the that RevGov o Transition Council, kasi siya yung nagpa-plot eh. Sila yung mga tao nila yung gumagalaw. Kaya hindi naman si Sara kasi si Sara is an isolationist. Eh, paano siya ilalagay dyan? Hindi naman siya yung hindi man sila yung nagpaplano. Kaya yun yun.
Speaking of isolation, this is the last part of our discussion. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, whether it's Marco Rubio, whether it's Pete Hegseth, whether it's Mike Waltz, I think all of them have been saying the right thing in terms of reassuring us of our alliance and all, no? And dapat China focus, regional focus. Elbridge Colby will lead the policy at the Pentagon, the same thing. Nevertheless, I want to ask you this kasi kanina yun din ang discussion natin sa UTAC Forum, Usapan Taft and Katipunan with sila Justice Carpio and Yusek Malaya and Commodore Tariela and Colonel Padilla. This idea that dapat ba mag-worry tayo na baka that this Trump 2.0 could be a little bit more isolationist than we want? The reason I'm asking that is on one hand, see Trump, since he has returned to power, he constantly talks about, wouldn't it be great if we just make peace and talk together? And then yung TikTok, wouldn't it be nice that TikTok will stay wonderful? And then more worrying, actually lang nag-tag sa akin ay yung members ng Biden National Security Council just the other day on TikTok. The new guy who's in charge, si Briers sa Pentagon ng Southeast Asia, he has been openly arguing for kind of a grand bargain or at least a bargain deal with China kung saan sabi niya, to quote him, what the US should do is to look for a cooperation spiral with China kung saan daw i-withdraw ang US yung mga EDCA bases, yung mga missile systems like Typhoon in exchange for China doing less bullying and patrols in the West Philippine Sea. Hindi ba worrying medyo yung mga ganitong statements coming from people are playing now a very important role? These are libertarian folks who are playing a good top position in Pentagon nowadays. Do you think that the Rubios will prevail, the more traditionalist Republicans, or that we should be genuinely also worried with the prospect of also someone like Elon Musk also playing a very important role? Kasi si Elon Musk, laki ng investments niya in China. All Tesla I saw in BGC are made in Shanghai. He openly said Taiwan is an integral part of China. He denied SpaceX to Ukraine to make a deal with Russia. From what we understand, he may be doing parallel diplomacy with Iran. So, hindi ba nakakabala yung presence ng mga ganitong figures, mga isolationists, Elon Musk types who have Chinese business interests? Um, do you think that your good friend, put you on spot, Marco Rubio, could win the day and make sure na the bilateral alliance moves in the right direction?
I think si Elon Musk, pinapakinggan siya in certain areas of governance. Pero dito sa parte na yan, palagay ko magpi-prevail yung State Department, ano sila Secretary Marco Rubio kasi heavily invested na sila diyan. Ang red line nila diyan is Taiwan. Kasi talagang masisira yung decades long na alliances na binild nila, no? Because pag pinabayaan mo na yan, di yun na yun. Ngayon, I think ito kasi si si Trump, ano, medyo na nag-overcorrect siya eh. Dun
Exactly.
sa
Yeah.
mga previous na ano, and maaring yung iba welcome na mga moves yan, yung parang practically parang new sheriff in town, ano, in town yung dating eh, na pagka hindi mo to ginawa, gagawin ko to. So binubuli yung mga ano. That works siguro, that may be working now. Pero pag dumating yung panahon na ang US ang hihingi ng pabor, lahat ito ay babalik. Magkakaroon ng mga lang leveraging using yung mga ginawa nilang mga moves early on. Kaya sana kung hindi siya mag-overcorrect, kung siguro yung mga initial moves okay na siya doon, then let the bureaucrats take over. So yung long-standing or yung strategic foreign policy positioning ng US ang magpe-prevail. Kasi pag yun sa tanong na who prevails, sila Elon Musk or Marco Rubio, it's Trump who will prevail. So kung anong maisip niya paggising niya ng umaga na yon,
Last wish for
whether
next
it's
year, yeah.
whether it's the side ni Marco Rubio, yun yun. But I feel dito sa foreign policy aspect ng governance, medyo nagde-defer siya kay Marco Rubio, especially with how he performed nung confirmation hearings. Talagang pinakita niya yung expertise niya in every corner of the world. Kahit na anong
Philippine US
conflict.
history, Duterte, like everything. Parang ikaw
Yes.
narinig ko. Is that so? Like yung level of familiarity niya sa Philippine politics was incredible. Yeah.
And ano, meron siyang mga advisors na ano na nakatutok sa Pilipinas. Kaya ano naman, hopefully ano natin, mapapangalagaan yung interest natin diyan sa mga
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about that. Kasi in fairness, I think Justice Carpio and a couple of other people would say something like, Hindi, syempre, nakakabaling yung sinabi niya sa Greenland na binubuli niya yung Denmark and alay, binubuli niya yung Canada, Panama. Well, may pagka-Monroe Doctrine yan kasi Western Hemisphere lahat ng pinag-usapan natin. So, of course, it doesn't look like a sheriff in the town. It's more like the new cowboy in the town. Parang primeval American Netflix.
Ah,
But the idea is that iba kasing East Asia, iba yung Western Hemisphere, iba yung Europe. Di ba? Ang Europe kasi ang problema, burden sharing eh. Ang yaman-yaman ng Europe, pero ang baba ng defense spending nila. But tayo, we are doing our best, right, Senator? But I'll say one issue I also had with the budget of BBM is that kinaltasan, not BBM's budget, but the budget that was passed, kinaltasan yung modernization natin. We were asking for 50 billion pesos. 36, 35 lang binigay. Like, isn't that a
yeah.
little bit reckless? We have to be more self-reliant and all just to hedge. I mean, of course, you're hoping that, the Marco Rubio wing of the Trump 2.0 will prevail, but you can never say for sure, right? There's always Elon Musk. There's always the libertarians embedded in the
Yes.
government. So as a responsible statesman, you have to hedge.
Hmm. And si Trump is very unpredictable. Kaya talagang ano tayo diyan? Nothing is set in stone at this point. Yung ano kasi, yung naman sa modernization, ang ginawa kasi nila dito, nag-trade-off sila. They need I think 18 billion para itaas yung subsistence allowance ng mga sundalo, ng rank and file. And dito, kung bibigyan mo itataas mo yung subsistence allowance which is warranted, no? Kasi the last time na tinaas yan when I was still in the Senate back in 2012. So that's 13 years hindi na because of inflation na dilute na yung pera. So yun ang prioritize. Ngayon, unfortunately, kailangan kukuhanin sa defense budget din and ito yun, yung sa modernization. But yung sinasabi mo kanina about yung sa defense spending, hindi kasi tayo pwede ma-equate doon sa EU because the EU countries mostly are developed countries.
Yeah.
At talagang they can afford it. So talagang nag-ano
And may
sila,
war sila. They have a Ukraine war. They should pitch in.
Oo. Oo, nagsisave sila, nagsisaving sila at the expense ng US. So, valid naman yung punto na yun. Pero sa atin, kahit na sabihin natin magbuhos na triple tayo ng budget, it's still a drop in the bucket compared to
China.
the budget defense budgets nitong mga ito. So, kailangan talaga natin ng suporta from our allied countries.
Um,
Yeah.
just last point in this. Sorry, Sonny, ang dami parang natambak. The reason again I'm raising this is, 'di ba sabi mo nga, kargado ito eh. Meron ng narrative na naman mga DDS, 'di ba? Ang narrative nila is Digong loves Trump loves Digong kasi far-right populist international pal, 'di ba? Ang tawag ni Duterte, congratulations to my pal. Although tapos hindi daw inimbita si BBM. Although I know only six leaders were invited to the inauguration. Milei, Meloni, Orban, Modi, yung mga usual suspects. So even Netanyahu was not invited, just to put things into context, no? So meron kasing linya. So inauna ko kasi pinipreempt ko yung narrative nila. Ang narrative nila is Trump will throw BBM under the bus kasi si BBM ay masyado nag-Biden at Trump loves Duterte and Trump will cut a deal with China. Constantly yun ang nakikita ko narrative. Kaya gusto ko tong discussion na to because we want to show to the Filipino people is that hindi naman tayo nag wishful thinking dito. And at the same time, may bipartisan consensus also in terms of the bilateral lines, meaning both Republicans and Democrats are good. The reason I'm also raising this is because some are making a big point out of this 90-day freeze sa US aid. Sa pagkaalam ko, this doesn't affect humanitarian aid. And kanina umaga nung kausap kong National Security Council and all dun sa UTAC Forum, sabi nila hindi rin apektado yung defense aid. Ang apektado lang talaga dito yung US aid. Siguro, again, siguro may kinalaman ito dun sa woke ng mga projects
Yeah.
na yun nila
Yeah.
Trump. Siguro yun lang yun, di ba? Again, just to clarify, kasi some of the trolls, Duterte trolls are making something out of that. Sabi nga nung iba, kawawa naman daw yung mga bayaran ng Amerika sa Philippines dahil may 90-day freeze. Sabi ko, sarap naman ng nagsalita. Live from Beijing pa naman to mga kaibigan natin.
So, well, ako nga, sabi ko nga, nothing is set in stone. Ultimately, depende yan sa gising ni Trump kung saan ba siya pupunta, saan direksyon. But, meron ng default na position. And it was articulated by Secretary of State Marco Rubio during the confirmation hearings. Very definitive yung lines doon. And it is aligned with the long-standing strategic foreign policy position ng US in East Asia. Kaya talagang babaliin ng husto yan. It will go against President ano tayo, let's have a 180-degree turn and strike a deal with China. It will definitely go against bipartisan advice. At ano to, mabigat 'yon. And si Trump may not be interested in political capital unnecessarily kasi very strong yung anti-China narrative niya during the campaign i-impose ng tariffs and all that, di ba? So, ano yon? Palagay ko more or less meron default na position. Kaya yung sinasabi ng mga DDS, wishful thinking yon. And ganun naman sila
Sila
ever
yung
since.
wishful thinking, hindi yung...
Ha? Sorry?
So sila yung wishful thinking na Trump will save,
Sila,
Trump will
Oo.
save the day
Sila
for
yung
China.
yeah, wishful thinking nila is Trump will favor Duterte. For all you know, wala namang pakialam
Siyang
si Trump
pakikita
diyan.
loser. Yeah, like he doesn't care if you're not
Yeah.
a powerful person, right? So I just
Oo. So, yeah. Ano lang, pinapa-high moral lang nila yung sarili nila kasi alam mo na, walang no good news for them lately. So they need to create something, 'di ba? Para lang ano nila.
medyo kailangan
But walang basis 'yon at all.
medyo kailangan ng fentanyl dopamine ano. This is really last point. Senator, how is the campaign going in Caloocan? And again, how can people follow you and support you? People are also invested in your race. I know parang ang pangit kasi ang dating, parang ang dami natin pinag-usapan around the world. And oh, by the way, tumatakbo ka rin ng mayor ng Caloocan. Kamusta naman dyan? And paano pwede tumulong o mag-volunteer ang mga kaibigan natin na who believe in your brand of good governance and decisive leadership, which is what I really appreciate about you, Sonny.
Well, salamat Richard. The campaign is doing well, no? Kasi wala pa naman to. Actually, this is pre-campaign, but very very good yung reception and we have both informal and formal surveys showing na practically tabla na yung laban. Tabla na, no? And I came from way down, but here we are, and I think we have the momentum going for us. But we won't be complacent. We will be running as though milya-milya yung lamang ng kalaban. Kaya dadaanin namin ito sa sipag. Now, as for those who want to help us, they can reach us through our social media platforms. So, andiyan dyan naman po yan. Yan.
Hindi naman kayo mag-RevGov, Mayor, just in case. Sabi niya, baka mamaya magkukuyan si Trillanes sa City Hall sa Caloocan. Well, good
Yeah.
friends stab you in the front, so I just had to spell this out, Senator. Kasi may mga nagsabi,
Y-
naku, pag di
Yeah.
nanalo, baka magkukuyan sa Caloocan.
Well,
Sorry.
sabi ko, we've always respected the will of the majority, no? Ever since I became this pro-democracy or a Democrat back in nung nakalabas na ako, I never looked back, di ba?
Actually, we have to do
Uh,
in person na lang dun sa journey mo. Kasi every time we talk about democracy, someone joke, hindi ba ito yung 3 beses nagkuplad? Sabi ko, well, siguro magkuplad yan sa Caloocan. May supporta rin dyan. Mag-revgov sila dyan. And so may
hmm.
advice ka sa mga kaibigan natin na genuine opposition na siguro unwittingly naging enabler or unwittingly tinulungan yung propaganda machine unfortunately ng kabila. I think you have made your point also very clear that the greater evil or the threat to our constitutional order is really from the side we have been talking about. I know also that I'm sure people in the government are also watching our podcast and all, and they're looking at our discussions. What is your advice to President Marcos? If President Marcos sat down now and said, okay, ang dami yung satsat ni Richard, dami yung alam. Okay, anong gagawin natin ngayon? What should BBM do or what should he avoid doing in the coming months to make sure na hindi mangyari itong RevGov? at hindi talagang i-weaponize at i-hijack ang mga Dutertes ang mga legitimate democratic exercise of scrutiny and budget fiscalization.
Well, si Duterte kailangan i-turn over sa ICC. That's one. Pangalawa, i-impeach si Sara Duterte. Pangatlo, i-address yung mga legitimate concerns ng genuine opposition na kung ano man itong mga nakikita nilang misprioritization ng education sector and ayan, PhilHealth. So, i-correct yan. Kaya naman i-correct yan eh. Then, iwasan yung mga bulilyaso, mga unforced errors, ika nga. Then finally, kailangan nilang palakasin yung
Communication.
kanilang communications group. Kailangan front and center ito sa issue. Hindi dapat reactive. Kailangan pinapaliwanag. Kailangan na-anticipate nila where the propaganda machinery of the Dutertes are going and coming from. Di kailangan mako-contain nila kagad yon. Kasi nagiging reactive and passive even. Makita mo tong BICAM issue na ito, there is no cohesive or organized response. So it's just a one statement from Malacanang and that's it. Samantalang yung kalaban, sustained yung kanilang bira at iba't ibang talking heads ang ginagamit para makalat nila yung kanilang manufactured issue. So, kailangan talaga yung communications group nila ay dominating
Right.
sa ganito.
As was it Roy Con advised to the young Trump, 'di ba? There are three rules in politics: attack, 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 right? Like dapat siguro wag mong
Yeah.
hintayin yung kalaban mo, you attack, you take the initiative all the time.
Offense, yeah.
Ah,
Offense is the best
best
defense.
defense. Exactly.
Ah,
That's what always Team Brazil used to say in World Cup until hindi na sila nanalo. But anyway, thank you so much, Senator Trillanes. Buti nga game ka, no? I mean, grabe din sa ko, baka magkuyan. No, but thank you so much. I know medyo mabigat na mga
yeah.
diskusyon nito. I hope people normal naman magkakaroon tayo ng disagreements. I mean, this is spirit of democracy, di ba? We can have same goals but different tactics, even sometimes different strategy. But we have so I hope people don't take it against you or against me or against some of us when we just emphasize certain points. So I really appreciate that, Senator Trillanes. And yes, you're correct. Campaign preparation. Sorry, officially hindi pa nagsimula. Kung Fatsoy, have a happy new year and talk to you soon, Senator. Hopefully in person. Gusto rin namin i-cover yung once your campaign starts in Caloocan para ibang topic naman. Salamat, sir.
Sige, happy Chinese New Year, Richard, and see you.
See you soon po. God bless.